So right here, we're seeing this narrative go around about Russell Wilson's stat line. This is how far the Broncos have fallen off, right? Over the next 2 weeks, the Broncos have 2 easy games that they should win against the terrible-ass Bears and against the terrible-ass Jets. 2 dog shit teams coming up on their schedule. The only good team the Broncos have played all year were the Dolphins, right? The Broncos don't play a good team till what, week 6? Week fucking 6? And then even then they play the Packers right after. Easy-ass schedule, and they're still 0-3. There's no excuses. There's no fucking excuses for this, Denver. You have an easy-ass schedule. Your first half of the schedule is easy as fuck. Every single year the Broncos play the Jets, it seems. They'll play a team like the fucking Bears, the Commanders, the Texans. Like, I'm so sick of the NFL giving this team easy-ass schedules every year. You played one good team this year, and you got 70 dropped on you. And we're going to talk about Russell Wilson's stat line? Let's add some fucking context to it. Week 1, he had 2 touchdown drives, right? First one, it was 3rd and 5. The Raiders corner makes a great play, breaks up the pass, gets called for PI, bogus PI call, kept that drive alive, which allowed the Broncos to score. Second score, again, another bogus PI call. Take those away, and you take 14 points off the board. Week 2, the Commanders blow a coverage. The safety doesn't know what he's doing, leaves Marvin Mims wide open because he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. There's a big chunk of yardage for Russell Wilson's stat line. There's a touchdown for Russell Wilson's stat line. If they played any defense, you could take that away. Then the Hail Mary. The play before that shouldn't have even been called a catch, so he should have never even been in range for that. But yet again, the 12th man strikes again for the Broncos. They call it a catch, and it puts them in range for a Hail Mary. Take that away. Denver loses that game 35-19. Then you got the next game, the one we just played. 1 touchdown drive. And on that drive, that touchdown pass was only made possible thanks to a Mike McGlinchey UFC-style headlock that was not called, even though the refs were staring right at him. So the only touchdown the Broncos offense scored, you could take that off the board. Everyone's going to talk about the defense. It was pass interference. Okay, corners already are at a disadvantage in the NFL with the rules stacked against them. You can't play defense anymore. So I agree. When you're preventing the fucking receiver or the corner from being able to cover the receiver in the first place because you run right into him, whether it's a pick play or not, you shouldn't be allowed to do that because the rule book is already stacked against corners as it is. So that's a clean call, in my opinion. That's a good call by the refs. Not to mention the plays, that whole scoring drive, the refs were ignoring holding by both. There was a play where both Garrett Bowles and Mike McGlinchey were fucking headlocking people, and the refs were staring right at them. They didn't call that. So if you take away the help from the 12th man, this stat line looks a lot worse. If you take away errors by the other team, this stat line looks a lot worse. And to the NFL, stop helping the Broncos. Stop. Why the fuck are you so obsessed with this shitty franchise? Stop. Call Garrett Bowles out for his headlocking. Call Mike McGlinchey out for his headlocking. Call Ben Powers out for his holding. Call Garrett Bowles out for his bear hugging. Stop calling bogus PI calls. Actually hold the Broncos accountable for the terrible football that they play. Because the only reason Russell Wilson's stat line looks like this is because he's had a lot of help from the referees. And it always amazes me when Bronco fans will complain about the refs. What else do you want them to do? They help you out every fucking game. What do you want them to do? They almost gave you the game against Washington. I'm so sick of the NFL officials. Hold this team accountable. Hold this team accountable. If I can see the holding while I'm watching the game, not even using all 22, I know your dumbasses who are staring right at him can see it. Actually fucking call this team out for the holding that they do. I am so sick of seeing Garrett Bowles headlocking people, seeing Mike McGlinchey headlocking people, and it's because of Russell Wilson. He's a politically connected quarterback to the NFL, and they want to help him out. You can tell that there's just this agenda to paint Russell Wilson as this great quarterback. There's just this agenda in the media and the NFL to make him good. If fucking Drew Lock was out there, you bet your ass off those flags are flying. If Teddy Bridgewater is out there, you bet your ass off those fucking flags were flying. If Trevor Siemian is out there, you bet your ass off those flags were flying. How many fucking good plays did Lock have that got called back because the NFL actually held them accountable? Garrett Bowles never stopped holding. The NFL just stopped throwing the flag ever since Russell Wilson got here. All right? So I don't want to see any more posts about Russell Wilson's stat line. I will take Tim Tebow's dog shit stat line and wins over fucking a good stat line and losses. Because that's the context. You have 12 man. You have the 12th man helping you out. And what kind of mental... if Cortland Sutton would have caught this and the refs didn't call back this touchdown... it would have been 70 to 35. What's the difference? What difference would it have made? You lost by 50. I don't want to hear that shit, okay? If the refs held you accountable, it'd look a lot worse. If a lot of things happened, it would look a different way. But the refs and the NFL need to cut their bullshit with the Broncos because they're definitely helping them out. Drew Lock didn't get this kind of support from the NFL. Teddy Bridgewater didn't. Joe Flacco didn't. Case Keenum didn't. Trevor Siemian didn't. Paxton Lynch didn't. I'm sick of it. NFL, you have to hold this team accountable. I'm sick of watching you let them get away with this bullshit every week.